ask you about something that happened last session. As you well know, you made a big point of saying you turned down $555 million of federal stimulus money that would have gone to extend unemployment benefits. But of course, Governor, the state took almost $17 billion in federal stimulus money, not just to balance the last budget, but to go back retroactively and balance the 07. So not all federal stimulus money is bad.
No, strings attached. It's the strings that get you.
But doesn't all federal money have strings?
No, it doesn't. I mean, you look back historically, and now, will they let me have a magic wand and change the way that they do business up there? I hope that one of the byproducts of November the 2nd, when the Republicans take over the House of Representatives and they really talk about have all of these stimulus programs work, I hope one of the things that they'll go back and talk about, there's better ways to do this. Let's block grant the money back to the states and say, okay, Governor Perry, you think you got a better way to deliver health care? Here's the dollars that we have that were coming to Texas. You got a better way to educate your children? Here's the block grant. The block grant concept, I think, works well. Here's what doesn't work well, is this one-size-fits-all mentality that's coming out of Washington, D.C. and times X number that it's been historically. Obamacare is a great example of it. Here's the way you're going to deliver health care. We know it was going to cost us $27 billion more, Evan, in the next 10 years. And I can promise you the physicians that are in the audience out here today, they're not going to practice medicine. We're going to see a shortage of physicians. So my point is, to answer your question, the unemployment insurance dollars, and if you'll recall the race to the top dollars that I turned down, had strings attached. And they said, if you take that, you're going to have national standards for teaching the kids, and here's the test you're going to, we'll get the test to you later, but if you take the money, you're signing off. And I said no. And the same thing was true on the unemployment insurance money. It had strings attached. We had voted down those changes in the Texas legislature, and they tried to blackmail us with our own money, and I said no.
So when the state sends dollars down to school districts, local jurisdictions, there are no strings attached? You just give them a big bag with a dollar sign on it and say, spend it as you want?
There are strings.
So why is it okay for the state to impose strings on school districts in local areas, but for the federal government not to impose strings on you?
Generally good strings.
So it's not about strings, it's about the strings you like.
And it's also about the process. When we meet in Texas in our legislature, the school boards are here, the superintendents are here, the teacher groups are coming in, and we work with them, and by and large, the restrictions that get put on dollars have been approved. They don't ask us about that in Washington, D.C. So trying to, with all due respect, trying to compare Texas with Washington is a stretch.